Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, outlying or not otherwise specified. My name is Jonathan, and welcome to the first episode of JonathanIsBadAtGames Real Talk, where I'm going to be sharing with you my philosophies on life and how I ended, or how I got from one point to another, starting with the bottom of a pit of depression and getting to the point where I don't want to accept that, and instead I'm going to be happy and do the things I enjoy doing and living the life that I want to live and making those kinds of choices instead of letting life, kick me down and keep me at the bottom of that pit. Hopefully, I'm going to be getting you in a similar mindset where you can see where you want to go and why you should want to get there and why you should want to be happy. And hopefully, you can get feel a little better feel a little better about yourself, because I know that it's difficult to be down there, and I don't want anyone to be down there. And everyone should know their own self-worth. They shouldn't have to think poorly of themselves because society dictates that they should for any stupid reason. So, I'm not going to try to give anyone the warm fuzzies here. I'm not going to tell you all that you're all special, because part of this philosophy is that no one's special. Everyone's even, and that's why we should all have we deserve the same thing that everyone else deserves. Everyone deserves to be treated equally. There's nothing really special about anyone. We all have our own talents and stuff like that, but no one's exceedingly special. And that's why everyone deserves to be happy. Everyone deserves that liberty. Everyone deserves to do what they want to do, follow their dreams. And everyone deserves to feel content with themselves in the same way everyone else does, the equal amount of success. They shouldn't have to feel like they're a loser. There's no reason anyone should have to feel that way. So I'm going to go over my logical process and my logical processes for how I got to step from the point where I felt like a loser and that I couldn't do anything and how everything was depressing and stuff like that, to how I'm kind of growing. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm to a point where I can talk about how I've come this far and the sort of ideas that are circulating my head and helping me realize how I can meet my full potential. So it basically starts with the idea that the world is not inherently a negative place, and I was in philosophy class one day, and I was inspired by this argument that's ongoing in philosophy. It's about free will and the presence of good and evil in the world and what they serve, and it was essentially saying that there's evil in the world, and we were given free will so that we could become the best possible universe, like in terms of good and evil, because if we were just robots and we were programmed to do the right thing no matter what, and we didn't even have to face the temptation of evil, then would we really be good? Or is good having the choice between good and evil, positive and negative, dark and light, and choosing to do the good thing, the hopeful thing, the right thing, the white light thing, the good thing? And the philosophy states that the ultimate good is having the option to give into the darkness and choosing instead to do the good thing, regardless of whatever personal gain you might take from the dark side or whatever. Getting all Jedi up in here. But yeah, so that's where this kind of started off in my head. Now, that's the slate that I started with. And I realized that applies on both a global scale, where the world isn't a bad place because it is a bad place. It's a bad place because currently there are more people giving into darkness in some form of another than there are people realizing that there's a reason to be hopeful and a reason to do good things and a reason to embrace the light side of things. So there's that. And I believe personally that starts on an individual level. Like when you hear people say that something would be idealistic, but no one's willing to go for that because no one else has, and they feel like they're just a drop in this huge immense bucket of darkness, like a drop of light in a pit of darkness isn't going to do anything. But if everyone adapts that mindset, then of course it's never going to be a good place, because all of the good people are giving into the darkness in their heart that's been influenced by society. So I believe that this starts on the individual level, where we have to face the darkness inside ourselves, whether that be fear, doubt, sadness, anger, anything like that. We have to be willing to face that and make the personal choice to go beyond that, which for me is the sadness and the depression and the doubt and stuff like that. I'm choosing to put myself out there. I'm choosing to pursue my dreams despite that. And I'm looking at this negativity and I'm saying, no, I'm going to make a difference in myself, and I'm going to try to help make a difference with everyone else individually and as a whole. So that's kind of the foundational area that I want to start with you guys. When you if you take this into mind, think about something that's holding you back. Like, what are you afraid of? And there's a recent example. I've been talking to somebody online who was talking about how they could never be like, they never feel happy if they're not in a relationship, and they're so desperate to not be alone that they're willing to make conscious what's the word conscious compromises to get with people in relationships that they wouldn't necessarily want, but they're willing to do because they're so afraid of being alone. And that's an example of how their life could be better, but instead of choosing to come to terms with why they're afraid of being alone and examining what it is within them that they're afraid of accepting, like what is it inside of you that holds you back, examine these things, think about these things, reflect on these things, and then choose to not accept that. Like, an instance for that, I would say come to terms with whatever it is that makes you afraid to be alone, and then embrace the feeling of being alone. It doesn't have to mean that you should pursue to be alone all the time forever, but you should at least come to terms with yourself so that you don't feel alone all of the time when you're alone. Like, getting lonely, that's normal, but being so caught up in the idea of being with someone that you fear being alone can hold you back, and it can keep you from finding what you really want because you're so busy trying not to be alone that you never get the chance to meet somebody else. That's one example of how the darkness inside of you can keep you from being your full potential. And that's just one example. There are various other things. Just one example. That's romance and self-doubt and stuff like that. But in my case, I was just afraid of putting myself out there. I'm afraid of, sharing my opinions with people because I'm afraid they'll think I'm stupid or that my opinions are dumb, and I'm afraid of the criticism that comes with that. But I realized that if there's the potential that this could be a good idea, and that it could be good logic, and that somebody could benefit from it for themselves and become a better person. So I'm going to take that chance, and I'm going to ignore the darkness in myself, and I'm going to project my ideas out there, and I'm going to spread it out into the world as best I can. I'm going to get as many people to hear it as possible because maybe it'll help someone in the same way that it helped me, and I can do my part to make the world a better place, and I can reach my full potential because maybe that's what my potential is. That's what I'm driven towards. Maybe that's what I should be doing. So I'm going to talk a little more about like how you can get to the point where this is just my starting place. Like, as soon as I figured this out, I wasn't just like everything clicked into place. That's not necessarily it. I can take you through a few more steps in the future videos. I just wanted to get this foundation, the introductory video out here so you can kind of see what I'm going to be trying to do, and hopefully I know this sounds all jumbled up. I really did try to plan before this, but then I get in front of the camera and I get nervous and things happen. So I'm going to try in the future videos to be more outlined. And hopefully you get the point here. And what I'm trying to say is the foundation. That we have to be willing to come to terms with ourselves and then overcome that. And to be the citizens that we want to be. To make the world the place that we want it to be. And if you find yourself saying, well, that doesn't apply to me, I'm no good, or something like that, you'll see what I'm talking about in the future episodes when I go over. In the next episode of this series, I kind of want to talk about the value of one person and your personal power that you should draw from. You should be able to draw from. And I'm going to try to illustrate that through words, even though it's kind of hard to do. I'm going to try to go through the thought process that I went through to get to the point where I say, you know what, I'm worth at least the same as everybody else, just like everyone else is worth at least the same as me. So I'm going to elaborate on that in the future, but this is the foundation. I hope you guys were able to take something from it. I'll be talking more about stuff like that in the future. I have all sorts of things planned out that I need to talk about, and I don't want to just try to cram it all into one video because it'll go on forever. I'm going to go into bits and pieces, and that's going to be that. So thank you guys for watching, and if you have anything that you'd like someone's opinion on, for any sort of emotional support or stuff like that, something you need to help you come to terms with, like identifying what you're afraid of or something like that, I'm no expert, but I'll be willing to give you any input that I have, any insights that I have to offer, which is what I'm trying to do here. But hopefully you guys were able to take something from this rambling of sorts. I hope it was more directed than it usually is when I ramble, but that's basically the philosophy. The main philosophy behind my channel is that we as individuals and as a collective, not just the collective, but as individuals, have to face the darkness within the world, within ourselves. And the collective is as strong as the individuals, of course. So if you've got a collective of strong individuals, then your collective will be stronger than a collective of people who have not yet come to terms and become at peace with themselves. Because we're fulfilled people, we can be fulfilled people, we can be strong people, we can be pursuing our goals, and we can impact the world stronger if we ourselves are stronger. And that's what I want to help you guys achieve, so that you guys can reach your wildest dreams, your things that you think are insane, the strength inside yourself. I want to harness that, and I want you guys to be able, or I want you guys to be able to harness that. I'm sorry, you guys to be able to harness that, do what you want to do, and make similar changes on other people's lives through your strengths and your abilities, so that we together as a whole can make the world a better place. Anyway, I've talked long enough. I'll see you guys in the next episode, both of this and the video gaming things. That's what I'm doing. That's my pursuit. That's not solely what this channel is about. Remember that. That's just me. That's me following my stuff. That's what I like to do. But I want to include you guys in this, because in the end of the day, this is what's important to me, is that other people besides myself are benefiting from achieving what they want to achieve and becoming the person that they want to become. This is for self-betterment, both for me and for you guys. So keep that in mind. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks again for watching. I hope you guys were able to take something from it, and we'll talk more later. Have a good day.